Hello, friends. This is Dave Hurwitz, executive editor at ClassicsToday.com, here with classical music's most powerful quiet moments. And today we're venturing into the province of chamber music, Mozart specifically. Now, Mozart was a composer of great romantic passion. A lot of people don't think about him that way. They think about him as a sort of very pretty, extremely singable, lovely, exquisitely poised, balanced kind of guy. But he was appreciated in his lifetime for the foreshadowing of the romantic, for the passion and terror of the graveyard scene at Don Giovanni, or the final scene where the dead statue comes back to life, or his handling of minor keys, the G minor symphony. And today we're talking about the G minor string quintet. It's Kerschel 5 something or other, 516. Kerschel 516. The string quintet in G minor, I think that's usually viewed as number 4, but whatever. And the first movement in particular. What Mozart was able to do, what Mozart did in most of his minor key works, usually if a work began in a minor key with scary or sad or elegiac or turbulent minor key music, it would switch. It would end in the major. That was almost de rigueur. It was almost a given that your piece would have to end happily. But Mozart did not. Mozart had, partly it was, an outcome of his feeling for balance in things, but technically, the in a sonata form movement where you have two themes or two subjects or ideas, if one is in the minor, the second would be in the relative major key. That's what happens, for example, in Beethoven's Fifth Symphony. The second subject, it's in C minor, and the second subject is in E flat major. It's nice. It's in a major key, and so that was sort of the way it worked. There was no reason it had to work that way, but that was what most composers did to give contrast. I mean, you wanted that. You wanted this sort of emotional contrast. Mozart wasn't like that. Mozart liked to put his entire recapitulation or his second subjects or whatever in minor keys, as often as not, and particularly when it came time to recapitulating everything at the end of the movement, where it's all supposed to turn out in the home key. Instead of making it a major version of the home key, so the sad stuff becomes happy, he would stay in the minor key, making it even more pathetic, even more sad. Now, the first movement of this quintet is remarkable because when you get to the second subject, Mozart doesn't immediately even change the key. He stays in the minor. Now, the opening theme is da 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 ba ba da 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 da. It's a very neurotic, twitchy kind of thing, and you expect when you get to the second subject either major key or at least some kind of stability. Well, Mozart gives us something extraordinary. He gives us a theme that goes do 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 do, and it kind of repeats like that. It's like an animal in a cage. I mean, that's the nearest analogy I can think about it. It makes the music even more tense and claustrophobic than the already tensely neurotic opening. It's really, really powerful. However, as the music proceeds, he does do what's expected. That is, sort of switch to the major key and make it look like it's heading in the trajectory that tradition would dictate. But when he gets to his recapitulation, he does not do that. He stays in the minor key, and he really ends the movement with this do 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 do. It's the elemental. It's based on a minor arpeggio. It's the essence of G minor. It's as G minor-ish as any possible music could ever be. And it stays that way. And the result is extremely upsetting. It's very, very, very emotionally gripping and full of dread and tension. And I'm going to play you the recapitulation up to the end of the movement. so you can hear what Mozart does. You really need to listen. In a lot of these examples I'm giving you, you really need to listen to like big chunks of music to appreciate the power of the quiet passages. This entire movement has very few loud passages. I mean, it's chamber music anyway, and we tend to think of chamber music as soft music. That is, it's more intimate. It's less demonstrative than. It's actually not true. I mean, it's every bit as rich and big and exciting as large orchestral pieces, but it's written for smaller forces, so the dynamic range is more restricted, and you can do a lot more with delicate details than you can with an enormous orchestral work. I mean, there's no question about that. So this particular movement, though, is notable for having, in the exposition, there are maybe half a dozen loud bars. Maybe Mozart keeps writing piano, and the softness is part of its power. It really is, because the music has so much emotional intensity. And keeping the dynamic level low only adds to the suspense, because that's what he's really creating. He's creating suspense. And you get more suspense when things are soft than you do when they're quiet. When you're quiet, you get action, activity. But if you want suspense, you keep the dynamic level low. And so Mozart does almost throughout the entire movement. And so you really should listen to the entire quintet, which is amazing. But the first movement is just mind-blowingly gripping. And here is the recapitulation with the Ader quartet with some additional viola help here on Naxos. Really, really exceptional music at a low dynamic level. So here you go. I do hope that gave you a little encouragement to go and listen to the entire quintet, the quintet in G minor, Kerschel 516, in the Mozart catalog of works. 516. My, the man was busy, wasn't he? Then again, I've done over 5,000 videos, so I kind of get it. I really do. Amazing, amazingly powerful music at a low dynamic level. So keep on listening, friends. Thanks for joining me. Take care.